What's good, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. We got a full house this week, and we're going to cover Stolen, the Heist of the Century, the new documentary on Netflix. And we're just going to catch up on a couple of things, Twisted Metal among them, and some breaking news that just came in today. So welcome to the pod. I'm your host, Bruno. I'm here with Scott, Paul, and Pedro. What's up, everybody?
What's up, fellas?
We're all here, full house, no floods.
I'm doing good, but Bruno, what is the breaking news? You came off real quick, real fast.
Yeah, we'll wait on that. I just want to see how you guys are. I don't like to jump right in, feet first into business as usual, man.
I agree. I wasn't ready for that. That was.
Yeah, we'll talk about just some like TV stuff and streaming stuff that's happening. It feels like the world's moving pretty fast, and
all right.
In that sense.
You forgot to mention a fifth member. I have him monitoring the pod right now. That's Scott AI. So he's just, he's listening in right now.
Is he active listening?
Active listening, yeah. Just, taking the transcript and monitoring Scott's reactions and replies and all that.
Should we get him a mic? At what point are we gonna get Scott AI a mic, and then we're gonna have to debate this motherfucker on the show?
It might be the sixth iteration. So he's not quite there yet.
Scott,
He's crawling.
Scott, you don't look too happy about this.
As Mariah Carey says, I don't know her.
Wait, what is that in reference to? I feel like I just read that on a billboard or something.
When Mariah Carey doesn't want to talk about someone, she just says, I don't know him and I don't know her. Meaning she doesn't know enough to start talking about that person. And then whoever asks the question automatically moves on.
GPT-8, you'll meet Scotty. I guess we'll all meet him.
5 just came out, actually.
He's the other man. What was that? NWO? He's the fifth man. Remember that? Pedro, what was that NWO?
That was when Hulk Hogan got revealed as the third man.
The third man, yeah.
Yeah. Biggest heel turn of the century.
Last century.
All time.
Yeah, all time, man. How you guys been?
Good.
Crickets, man. You guys, I got you guys sleeping here.
I went to a AA baseball game, saw fireworks, camped out on the field, and watched Moana 2 on the field, which was pretty dope.
Those are fun. That's what I go to because my town only has a AA team. Who's your AA team?
It's the Thunder.
The Thunder.
It's like it's a AA for the Yankees.
Those aren't the NBA champs.
Hold on.
Oh, you probably got the Yankees.
Are we talking about? Is this Trenton Thunder?
No, not.
No, isn't that New Jersey?
Yes, it
is.
That's
New Jersey.
So I'm wondering, Thunder.
Wait, you got a AA ball team called the Thunder, Scott?
I thought the Trenton one is called Trenton Thunder.
Or was it AAA?
I want to go ahead and say that, like,
Trenton Thunder.
Minor league baseball games tend to be more fun and interactive than big league games.
They
just do a lot more. You got fireworks at the end. You got like a bunch of stuff.
You get your money's worth. This guy got a movie and a camping night.
Yeah, man, it was pretty. And then we went to a water park that was up there because we spent the night. We went to the water park the next day. Sorry, it's Renegades, not Thunders.
Ah, okay.
And then I went to a cat film festival on Sunday, which was pretty funny.
What the hell is that?
It was like a charity. They're trying to raise money for like oh my gosh, like salvage animals, rescue animals, and they're trying to raise money. So they did a cat festival here in a theater by me, and it was just like a bunch of like funny cat videos. But they had the adoption animals there, the rescue animals there, so you got to meet the animals. You got your popcorn, and then you went in the theater and you watched Cat Fest, which was pretty cool.
Sick.
Yeah,
did you adopt a cat?
No, we are planning on eventually, but just not yet. We're going away on vacation and stuff, so I don't want to get like
cats didn't make the cut.
No. Almost. We're about to.
That would have been the perfect time, man. If you've been thinking about adopting a cat, that would have been the perfect time, I think.
It's just rough because we're going on vacation and like to get a rescue and then have them at home or have someone else watch them and all that. The timing just sucked.
Yeah, I did the summer streets in New York in August. They open up the streets for like running, bicycling, and just walking. So you see like a bunch of kids and everybody just riding all through the city. We did like 20 miles. My wife and I always do it. And it just felt like peak summertime because the weather was perfect. It was like sunny but a little breezy. Got some tacos in between. It was sick.
Damn, 20 miles? How long did that take you?
We were pretty slow pace. It took 3.5 hours, like from where I live uptown to the Brooklyn Bridge and then back up.
Wow.
We stopped.
Did I do that 1 year with you, or was that someone else?
You did. They used to be in July, and they moved.
Well, I think the three of us did something like that 1 year, right?
Yeah, we did. We did Summer
Popped
Street.
into that, right, Scott?
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah,
Scott met us like Scott didn't walk a lot. Scott met us like downtown and walked like 3 blocks.
Right. I wanted to walk. I wanted to walk more. I walked across because I came from Penn Station.
He swam over and then he walked
right?
3 blocks.
That's true.
Yeah, it starts the last weekend of July and goes into 2 weeks in August, I think. Something like that.
Yes, they do several weekends.
Yeah, good time. I was just saying, man, it feels like the summer's almost over. All the superhero movies are done. And more importantly, I feel like TV shows are kind of starting to kick back in a little bit. It's a little early, but have you guys noticed anything new on your radar you've been watching?
Nothing TV-wise.
One guy was like, nothing TV, and Pedro's like, I watch a lot of stuff.
Well,
that goes.
Most of the stuff I watched isn't new, but I did watch some new TV though.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I caught the new King of the Hill.
Oh, you've been hyping that up. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were King of the Hill guy.
I actually wasn't until like
you moved to Florida.
I want to say until I moved to Florida a couple years ago. I never got it. I never got like the comedy or like the things they were talking about, but like seeing how Hank is just like a regular old blue collar like American guy living in the South, like I can relate to a lot of his stuff now.
You bring it back. They brought it back for you. Yeah. I couldn't get over his accent. It's like so country that, and also like for me, it was kind of funny, but it didn't really hit, I guess.
Yeah, it never hit for me either. And now I'm like, yeah, that's what people do down here. People like grill and
and just have like
Hank. They're just like Hank. But nah, this new season is fun because it acknowledges that there was a long hiatus. But the way they play it off is funny because Hank and his wife moved out of the country for a while and they moved back in and everything is like modern now. It's kind of funny because they're playing it off like, it's kind of like you're seeing this average dude from Texas like go from the 90s to like 2025. It's almost like he got picked in a time machine and then put here, and you're kind of like witnessing him like encounter a lot of new things for the first time. Like it's just funny, like safety on the roads, like green bike lanes and stuff, things that he didn't see back in the 90s.
I think that a 90s show?
Huh?
It is, bro. That's a 1997 show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yo, Brittany Murphy was on that.
Yeah, she was one of the original cast members. But I think it's fun, man. It's just a commentary on the times. Just fun, man. Fun. Mike Judge is involved in it. The original creator. Like everything he does is great, man.
Where are you watching it, streaming it?
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu, whole season. Shout out to Hulu for bringing back some of these shows like Futurama.
Oh yeah, that came back. Wait. Yeah. And then it went away again, right? I see it here.
It came back for 2 seasons. But yeah, this was fun, man. This was fun. I suggest people watch it. Want your fix of like 90s cartoons.
Yo, I've been watching the new Dexter Resurrection.
Oh, how is it? I want to hear that.
Yo, it's good. It takes place in New York City. They kind of figure out a way to like revive him, bring him back. They tie it also to, so at the end of, there's Dexter, and then there's the other Dexter where he's in Alaska. I can't remember the name of that show, but there's 2 seasons of that. And in that season, he gets killed at the end. So when they started the season of like,
Oh, that's Dexter New Blood. There was one season that I think he died right off the bat. Like at the end, yeah, he died.
that's so for New Blood, which is like him as a kid, they open with the season finale of the one where he gets shot. And the premise for New Blood is like while he's like going through the trauma in his head, he's reliving his youth. Right. So that's like the story there. And then this one, he actually wakes up from the gunshot wound.
No, wait. Hold up. New Blood is when he's in Alaska and he's under a different name and he meets his son.
That's New Blood. So what's the one where he's a kid?
I don't remember that one.
That's a new one.
Is
so
it?
There's two shows going on right now. New Blood is the Alaska show that's done, and then there's one where he's young. It's young Dexter, and then there's the current show, which is Dexter Resurrection.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, hold up. I gotta find the name of that one.
And they made a movie recently, right? They made like a Dexter movie, didn't they?
That I don't think so. But they have two shows concurrently on air for Dexter. Anyway,
sorry. There was the original Dexter, Dexter New Blood, Dexter Original Sin, and that's not him as a little kid. That's him like he's finishing up college, and he's like that's when he starts working for the Miami Metro. Right. And then now there's Dexter Resurrection. So New Blood is when he got shot and he met his son and all that. That was in Alaska. And Original Sin was down in Miami as a kid. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you threw me off. I totally forgot Original Sin.
Original Sin. So this one's a continuation of New Blood, basically. He is hiding in New York. And basically he finds out that his son is over there. So he basically goes to New York to find his son. He realizes there's a serial killer in New York City that kills Uber drivers. He goes after that guy. And then I won't say any more, but I would just say like the quality of the show is pretty good. The acting in general is good. Dexter, I feel like they let him slide a lot, just given like the amount of security cameras you would think would be in New York City. And this guy kind of walks around like a ghost a lot of the times. But nevertheless, the premise is ultimately that he's looking for his son and wants to reconnect with him. But he also finds this like little bit of a cult of serial killers from across the country that get together. And then he begins picking them off one by one. It's pretty cool. Peter Dinklage is I think he's the main villain. He's going to be the main villain of the show. But there's like police aspects. Angel Batista is back. There's a lot of stuff going on. I recommend that show.
They got a hype cast on this. You know who's on this show?
Uma Thurman is in it.
No, it was me from Smoke. I was lighting fire.
Yeah, dude. I had to go on IMDb to find that guy.
I heard he's totally different in this, though, right?
He's very, totally very different. Wow. Except the voice. He has like a fake like African accent too, but that sort of throaty, gaspy is there.
He's showing his range.
So I recommend that. And there's something else. So I started watching My Friends and Neighbors, John Hamm show on Apple.
I watched that a while back. How do you like it?
I only seen the first episode, but I feel like there's a major plot hole that kind of drives the whole show. But if you forget that, it's pretty good. It's shot really well. It's shot like a movie.
Wait. What's the plot? I mean, if you want to get into spoiler for a second.
Well, basically, like he gets fired and he has to steal from his friends, right? That's the plot device. But
friends / neighbors / not really friends.
But the problem I have with it is he gets fired first off because he has sex with a woman who works in the building in a completely separate office, and they say like HR has an issue with that and he has to be let go. But then we realize that she has nothing to do with his firing, and he kind of just got fired for no real reason. And he had like a 2-year non-compete, which prevents him from working. And I just felt like that was super, super loose. Like he could have easily sued. He could have gotten his assets. They also had no reason to fire him because he was like one of their best performers, earning a bunch of money for the firm. It just made no sense to me. But if you let go of that, it's a pretty good show.
Well, there's a lot you don't know. They're misleading you in the first episode to make you think that she's the one coming after him, and his boss is kind of saying like, yeah, and she's using it as a power move to elevate.
No, they
So
cleared that up. Once they clear that up, then I'm like, well, what's the actual point here? He could have just easily sued. You can't just fire somebody like that and take away everything. So once she was out of the picture, she came forward and said, I had nothing to do with you being fired. I didn't file a complaint. Then it's kind of just hanging there. And I'm like, well, then why is he poor? He shouldn't be poor. He can sue easily.
But then you find out something about his boss, and he had a non-compete agreement. So because he did have sexual relations with somebody that was under his team, like he was supervising, he
wasn't
break conduct.
He wasn't. She was on a completely, they say it multiple times, she was on a completely different, unaffiliated team. She wasn't even in the same company as him.
I could have sworn something comes out about the boss. I don't know. Maybe you got to watch
probably because he's the only shady character, and I'm like, this makes no sense. But anyway,
his boss is a D.
I still recommend the show. What about you guys, Scott? This guy's about to drop some fire.
What do you mean I'm going to drop some fire? No. I'm looking forward to this documentary called Fit for TV, The Reality of the Biggest Loser. It's about contestants that participated on the NBC show The Biggest Loser. I'm sure everyone.
And that's the show where like you would compete to lose weight.
Yes. And it's all about former contestants and producers revealing the tactics and the reality behind the success of the show. It was on for many seasons, and that premieres this upcoming Friday on Netflix.
Is this a scandalous story, or is this more of like, hey guys, remember this? This was fun.
I think it's more about the more of the side of the negatives, because the whole show was very positive the way they portrayed it. Like, you can do it, but then of course the intensity and the speed they accelerated things. There's really
like a fall off rate.
There's an emotional and physical negative to that of that trauma and transformation. So
did that show get canceled during like woke culture because there's like body positivity stuff?
No, I think it was canceled.
No, that was way before that, right?
It was canceled way before that.
Okay.
There was Vice had a show called The Dark Side of the 90s, and they did an episode on that. It was just like a 1 hour, 48-minute or a 48-minute episode. But this is a full length, so this should be interesting. I want to watch that too.
The final episode aired on February 22nd of 2016. So it was on for like 12 years on and off.
It was a big hit. I remember it.
Yeah.
Pedro, what about you? It's good.
Yeah, man, I watched a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna get into a lot of stuff, but I'm just gonna rapid fire. I'm gonna really suggest this movie called 40 Acres. It's a indie, low budget Canadian production. It's a post-apocalyptic movie. It's about there's like no farmland left or farming left. All the crops have gone away. And it's a story revolving around this family that has like one of the last farms, and they're just like homesteading, but they're like super like preppers, and like the mom is like ex-military, and like everyone in the family is super well trained, and they encounter some cannibals.
Nice. Okay. Say no more. That's what also with, I remember this movie, we talked about it in like one of the previews. It's with Danielle Deadweiler, I think her name is. You'll know her if you see her face.
Yeah, it was just from beginning to end, like the writing was excellent. Directing was excellent. Like what they did with this movie was like they told the story, executed it perfectly. So I really suggest that.
Where did you watch it?
I just watched it online.
In like a shady part of online, or like a Hulu or something?
Like a streaming site with my friend. My friend provided me a link. I don't know if it's available anywhere. It probably is. If it is, I would suggest renting it. It's probably available for rent on Prime, like, fairly cheap, probably, because it's not a new release. It's also not a major release, so it's definitely worth the 2 hours. I recently watched Alien Romulus. I know I'm a big Aliens fan. I talked about it a million times on the show, but I've been holding off on this. But I did want to watch it before Aliens Earth, the series, premieres this week to catch up. I thought Romulus was excellent. I thought Fede Alvarez did a really good job. This guy is like, anytime like you care about a franchise, you're like, man, they need to put like Villeneuve on it because that guy is good at everything. And I'm just like, yeah, why don't they don't put him on Aliens? But like, this guy did a great job, man. Excellent job. And apparently he hired the original practical effects crew from Alien for this. I like that, the CG
That's
was
cool.
cut to a minimum and the CG that was used looked decent. So
what did you think of the kind of like the double ending there with the alien coming back?
Thought it was great.
Being like a
Thought it was
straight
great.
up
Yeah, thought it was
horror.
good.
Did you have any beef with them bringing back Ian Holm, like in the CGI?
That was amazing. That was the best part of the movie to me. It tied up, it tied it in back to the original. Instead of
I agree. I thought
I thought
the
that was
movie
great.
was
I was not expecting that either. I'm so happy they did that. And quick note: the version I'm watching at home, the home release version, they fixed the CG on Ian Holm. Because the theatrical release apparently the CG was pretty bad on him, and like fans were complaining, and the director heard it, and for the home release he got the CG team back together to fix it up, and it looks really good. Really good.
Yeah,
That's
between
what-
that and Prey, man, they're making a comeback.
That's what happens when you edit on a small video screen. You can't see how terrible something looks.
I watched the really bad movie, The New War of the Worlds. It's being called one of the worst movies of all time. This thing was hilarious. It popped up on my splash page on Amazon. And I'm like, I was interested for like 5 seconds. Then I'm like, nah, this looks garbage. But Bruno, you sent over like a really funny review that somebody did on YouTube. And
I like that guy.
Once I watched that review video and they said that this whole movie was filmed during the pandemic and nobody was actually next to each other, I'm like, I gotta check this out and see how they pulled it off. If you just
what was
want
their mentality? What was their mentality for releasing it now? They held on for so long. Why are they releasing it now?
They held on to this movie for a good 5 years, and I don't know.
What was their thinking?
They probably just
I
needed
don't know.
content. Who knows?
Might have
you just
been
want
a dry spell right there.
You want a good laugh and not to take anything seriously, then I suggest you watch it.
So it is a movie that's bad, but you enjoy it. Kind of
because I enjoy like B movies and like bad movies that end up being funny and just enjoy it with a buddy. I also watched the new WWE Unreal reality series on
Pedro going off right now.
Netflix. It's pretty good. I've watched, WWE has made content like this before where it's like behind the scenes with their wrestlers. This one is more focused on the writing team and the creative, and that's what makes it different than the other ones. So I thought that was a really interesting look at how they pull a lot of these things off. And I watched Necaxa, it just got a 2-episode premiere on Hulu and FX. Eva Longoria apparently purchased the Mexican soccer team.
Oh,
And
that one, yeah.
It's kind of like a spin-off of Welcome to Wrexham, because towards the end of episode 2, she actually enlists the guys from Welcome to Wrexham to help her with their club. So pretty interesting. If you're into like soccer, these soccer shows that are just popping up everywhere, it's worth a look.
And I'm sure her recruiting them has nothing to do with them appearing on the show.
No, I mean, they're both FX productions.
Of course.
I think Rob McElhaney, or Rob Mack as he's known now, is one of the producers on the show. So like I said, it's kind of like a spin-off of Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah.
But I watched the WWE Uncut. I'm not a fan of WWE, but I was interested to see the backside of how things are done. But I think I wonder if someone if someone is a big fan, I'm not sure if they would want to watch this because it's it feels like it kind of takes away the magic of it to knowing what it takes to create a match or even what it takes to create a WrestleMania event to not have it, ruin it for them.
Yeah, it's nothing we didn't know. I mean, I knew who most of the producers were. I knew how things work behind the scenes, how their meetings go. But this was like, I think this was the first time they ever let cameras back there, and like you see them, like, you know, they show them like brainstorming and coming up with like what's coming out to be some of the biggest stories. So I thought that was cool. But you know, shall we move on to news?
I don't want to take too much of your time, but I really want to know what you disliked to transition to something that you watched that you didn't think was good, but you didn't like 28 years later. I know you mentioned you didn't like
I had
it.
28 years later up a lot as my number one movie I was looking forward to in the summer. But it didn't deliver to me. I know I'm in the minority, so I don't know what's going on. I know it's gotten like good reviews. Everyone appreciated it, but I just thought the movie felt small. The world felt small.
Did the
I didn't
ending
really
piss
like
you
the
off?
characters. There wasn't enough to get me behind these characters, like the kid and his mom. We barely just knew them. I thought the world felt small. I don't know. The fence that like the island and like the barricade they have looked like any one of these like alpha males could have just broken through. Like if two of them would have just rushed through, they would have just broken. It just looked like such a small gate that backed them up. I don't know. It ventured way off from the first two movies, and I thought I was going to get more of that, more of like an isolated like virus, you know.
And what did you think about the ending? Did it piss you off? Were you okay with it?
Honestly, I mean, I thought it was stupid and ridiculous. I know it was made to lead to the next movie and to continue it, but I felt like if they're gonna show that at the end, why not just have made everything you saw before that in the movie? Why not just made it like a montage about how they got to that point, and then just start the movie off with this cult?
Now the sequel's
That's the direction we want to go in. Like, why'd I have to see this kid and his mom and like watch the mom die, even though I wasn't invested in the characters at all? You know,
the sequel's guaranteed. Are you gonna go see it, or are you just like now you're like totally off put? Damn! Wow! All right! Wow!
Hot take.
That's tough, man.
Hot
I respect that, but it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough because I love that movie. I actually started watching it again a couple of days ago, just to sort of get back in that vibe. I thought I gave all my praise the last time we spoke about it, but I thought the characters were really good. I thought all the acting was excellent. The world building I thought was phenomenal, especially staging it as like the world has solved this problem, except the UK is the only one dealing with it. And then just making it a small story about a father, son, and then the son and the mother. I thought that was great.
And that soundtrack is fire.
That soundtrack is insane. Yeah. Okay. Do you guys want to talk about some breaking news? Paramount just bought the rights to the UFC for $7 billion. And there's also like a new sports streaming package, yet another streaming package. I think we announced one last week or two last week, and there's another one from like Fox and ESPN, I think.
You guys announced the ESPN streaming service, the Fox One streaming service, and today they're rolling out a bundle where you could get both of them together as a package for $39.99.
Yes, because Fox One is $19.99 a month, but if you want to whip out a few extra bucks, ESPN is $29.99. So you can save, I guess, $10 if you decide to get a bundle, or you can save $30 and not get either one of them. But what the interesting thing is that this is after last year there was a joint venture attempt of Disney, ESPN, Fox Corp, and Warner Brothers called I don't know if you remember this, called Venue Sports. That's VENU, and they were going to charge all three of them a joint bundle for $42.99. So I don't know if this is saying to Warner Media, hey, guess what? We only think you're worth $3 because you're getting Fox and ESPN for $29.99. Actually, no, it's more like $13 less. I guess that's
we've mentioned that news in previous episodes, and I always thought it was like far-fetched. I never thought just the concept of like all these brands and studios.
It's a lot. So it's a lot of content to have it as one bundle. And
to my mom, there's a why
Pedro, you're dropping off, buddy.
But as far as that, both happen to be dropping on August 21st of this year to give a lot of content from the NFL. ESPN is going to also provide the NBA, WNBA, MLB, NHL. It's still going to be confusing to see where you're going to get all this content.
It's not, because it's all on TV where you always have it. So this is just an extra thing.
Right.
And also, since we were on the subject of WWE, also WWE was the rights to WWE, their pay-per-views was purchased by ESPN. So that was news that this week also. So on that ESPN all streaming app, they'll also, on top of having the NFL, which was huge, they're now having all the premium live events for the WWE now, which they took the rights away from Peacock from. So that's huge too.
I think it may be a good time to do some spring cleaning of your Roku and Fire Stick desktop, because you may get some new apps you got to download to get access to the content you want.
Again, I think all this stuff is still available on the regular channels that you watch right now. This is maybe just future-proofing it or something.
Well, the UFC and WWE content is not. You're only going to be able to watch that on these streaming applications because they've been like on that pay-per-view model for some time now. It's considered premium content.
Premium.
Just quickly, with all this buying and all these purchases and these ventures coming out, I think it's important to point out that a lot of the sports rights are being tied up for the foreseeable future, the next couple of years, and it seems like Paramount was kind of like backed up into a wall here. They were kind of going to be the network left with nothing. So it seems to me like it was kind of like an emergency push of the button to purchase UFC, because you got like Apple having F1, and NBA is going to be on NBC and Peacock. It's a sad trend, but it seems like sports in general are getting put behind a paywall for a lot of people now, and Paramount was going to be left with nothing. So it seems to me like they just rushed into this.
This is pretty much just providing those who are cord cutters an alternate way to get access to all the content that someone with traditional cable would normally get, minus UFC, because that was only accessible through, as you said, Pedro, through online streaming. But it will all be coming to the fall. What will happen, I'm sure there'll be most likely some discounts and promotions to get people to want to launch into these packages, because there's going to be a lot of consumer education that's going to be required.
All right. Should we kick off into main topic? Get into some funny business. We're going to cover the documentary that you recommended, Pedro, which was great because it had just dropped. It's called Stolen, the Heist of the Century, premiered on Netflix. And this was a story that I didn't remember, but to catch everybody up, basically in a vault beneath the world's diamond capital, which I didn't know, over 100 safety deposit boxes sat behind locks, heat sensors, motion detectors, and even a seismic alarm. And then all of a sudden, the vault was empty. Diamonds, gold, jewelry worth over 100 million just gone, and none of the alarms went off. So this wasn't just a a quick smash and grab. This was years into planning. The execution was flawless, and some silly clues left the investigators to solve this. But it remains a mystery how the thieves actually stole all of the diamonds and broke into this vault. So this is a new documentary on Netflix. And I thought it was interesting. The first thing, as soon as I turned this on, there was a credit for writer-director for a documentary, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. That means this thing is going to be, the story is going to be tightly controlled. And I think this documentary benefited from that dramatically. The story is told through 2 points of views, the two of the investigators and Leonardo, who is, how was he presented? He's kind of like, he's the criminal, but he's not the mastermind. He was involved, and he's telling his side of the story, or how they broke into the vault. So you have these dueling viewpoints, and then merged together with this beautifully shot recreation of the whole thing. And even I think the camera footage is not original. I don't think any of the original stuff, the original footage is in the movie. What did you guys think of the documentary, Pedro?
Oh man, I thought this was a great 90-minute, hour and a half story, quickly digestible. I like the format, like you said, that they presented it. I like that you get the story and from the detectives about how they solved the case, and then you get the story from the thief himself on how he and his crew pulled it off. That was super interesting to me. I thought that made it, and I thought the recreations, like you said, I didn't notice there was a writer credited at the start, but it makes sense because the recreations were just like watching a movie and a documentary at the same time. It was really cool.
Yeah, Paul, what did you think?
I thought it was too long. There was conflicting details. I love that you're getting it from the horse's mouth, right? So you're getting an interview from the actual guy, Leonardo.
You can't trust the horse.
Yeah, you can't trust him. I mean, there's conflicting reports with him because he says he was just a patsy and he was approached, and in other reports he was the mastermind who ran it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like he was a scumbag for the way he just blew it off and said, "Oh, we stole 20 million, but through the insurance companies they got back 60 million. So who's the real thief?" And then the guy like contradicts that. And he's like, "Bullshit. We didn't get shit."
Yeah.
So he's a scumbag. But there was I do like that the detectives were involved and we got their side of the story. So you really get, the details. But I watched the doc on it in History Channel with Pierce Brosnan running the thing, and a lot of different conflicting info on the details.
Yeah.
He had a camera pen, right, that was taking pictures when he would click it.
Yep.
But in the history doc, it said he had a briefcase with a video camera embedded on the bottom of the briefcase.
Well, he had both. In this one, he had both.
Oh, he had the briefcase too. I missed that part.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And stuff with the sandwich, they traced back the one that they call, what was his name? The Monster. They traced him back with the receipt from the platter because of the salami sandwich.
Yeah, they caught him on camera buying.
Well, no. It wasn't that. So the receipt came from the general store where they bought a bunch of equipment the day before. But the sandwich came from, they accidentally threw out the apartment garbage, which included the sandwich, with the evidence garbage.
But they also had the receipt, they had the receipt for when the sandwich or the food platter was bought, and they got the picture of him, the video image of the monster, through the deli security camera.
Yeah.
But
Scott's about to go off.
I thought it could have been shorter.
Bro, it's
Scott,
90 minutes.
I know you like it, Scott. Come on, give us positive news.
I think it was very well shot. Looked very nice, but I felt like I was seeing too much of the beautiful, very nice. There were some times it felt like the same thing was said twice, and they could have condensed the storyline to the point where it could have been half as long. If you liked hearing the different points of view of them reiterating the same points of the story, I guess they were giving their point of view. I think they could have condensed it somewhat to make it take less time, which then would have prevented them needing to fabricate and create footage to fill in the blanks. Because I think they could have gotten further along to it faster. Because they kept on saying, "Oh, we don't know how they got into this, got into to the safe to get the jewels," but they could have got to that sooner.
See, I knew
mean,
we were
yeah.
going to agree. We were going to agree because Scott AI, validated my viewpoint. So I knew we were going to agree, Scott.
I don't agree. I thought it was very well told in the narrative way, because they start with the police. They give you, their initial reaction. This is supposed to be the world's most safest place in terms of keeping your possessions. And then it gets robbed. So the hook is incredible. And the way Leonardo tells the story is phenomenal too. And there's certainly an inspiration from The Usual Suspects in this. It's like, I feel like it's kind of all over, where he alludes to this stranger, the mastermind, Alessandro, approaching him and convincing him to rob this place because he had an office in the building. And then there's this whole thing about the School of Turin, who are like these machinists who worked with metals, and that region of Italy had like a uniquely high percentage of the population with a very particular skill set, which is working with metals, which is like cracking safes, making keys, understanding just like how all this shit works. Really, like, I thought that was the coolest part. And that they had a name called the School of Turin, where all these dudes essentially came from. And them just explaining how, or at least Leonardo, even though you can't really believe him, explaining exactly how they broke in was freaking brilliant. Especially the part where the magnet locks, how they sort of bypassed that whole system with such a practical solution. It was genius, man. I love that kind of stuff.
And we can, we can say like, you can't believe the horse's mouth, this and that, but he also has nothing to lose, like he served his time already. He can just expose it and just,
he's got to be very careful what he says.
Everyone thinks that he's like, or was one of the best thieves in the world. I really like how his character, I mean, this is a documentary, but this guy's character like develops from the beginning to the end of the movie. There's like an arc and everything. Like he has like some sort of redemption for his wife at the end, and they show him living like a happy life. But like slowly, as more and more gets revealed, he starts off as this guy who's just a jeweler who kind of gets approached by this mob like mysterious Alessandro person who puts him in touch with the School of Thieves. And from there he kind of like gets more corrupted and more corrupted once he gets a taste of money, and like he then becomes fully involved in this to the point where he wants to be in the vault stealing. And it's like that's him presenting himself as his character. It could be, most of it could be BS, but
what did you believe?
It works like a movie to me.
Which part of you believed his story wholeheartedly?
No, I believe parts of his story, and I believe parts of the detective story, and the process of how they broke into the safe that he's talking about. I believe that because the detectives were kind of like saying the same thing and corroborating.
Yo, that was one of the best parts.
I think that's what Scott was talking about, that he kind of like was hearing the same thing 2 times, but it's like, okay, this is kind of legit here,
because you're hearing the detective's reaction in real time when he's like, okay, the first thing I did was, I put a hole in my bag and I put a camera in there, and then I faked like I had to yawn and I pointed it up, and and then it cuts to the investigators like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And
like, they're reacting in real time.
There was one thing that they mentioned, I forgot which one it was, where the detectives were like kind of like stunned at that. It's like, how many years after this crime? 20 years, and like they kind of like revealed something to them, and they're like, oh yeah, that could have been possible, you know. But yeah, there were some holes and mysteries, you know. We didn't get a definite answer as to how they broke into the place without being seen on any cameras on any floor, you know. Like Leonardo says one thing and the detectives say another thing of how they broke into it.
But you know, point is, they broke into it and nobody knows how, and the money's gone.
Yeah, they pulled off the biggest heist in the world and the most secure vault that we know of in the world.
Obviously, it's not secure. It wasn't the most secure because someone was able to break in with many people not realizing it prior to it happening. I think also it felt long because so much of the documentary was subtitled. And I don't know if this is a standard practice that Netflix is now gonna, I don't feel like there's a standard of whether or not, if there is a foreign language spoken within a documentary, whether they dub it, whether it's a producer that decides if they dub it or they just subtitle it.
No, it had definitely charm hearing him.
Dubbed.
It had such charm hearing him speak it as opposed to like listening it to dub. That was like
you guys listen to dubs?
Certain shows, yeah. If it's if it's like a show, if it's like a dramatized show, not a documentary. I think there was beauty to listening to him speak poetically about the robbery, and if that was dubbed, it would have lost that charisma to it. But I don't know. Like I just like same thing. I think it was just too long. A lot of repetitive things. But what do you do? What do you believe? Do you believe that he was duped and not duped, but like somebody else approached him and set this all up, or do you think he was the mastermind?
I don't believe there was an Alessandro. And going back to Bruno's point about how this reminds us of The Usual Suspect, to me, Alessandro is Kaiser Sose. That guy doesn't exist. And you know, Leonardo Notarbartolo, whatever his name is, Notarbartolo, is speaking about this guy as he's a separate person, but it's actually him. He is Kaiser Sose. He's the mastermind.
I thought I saw the detective.
They touch up on his background too. You know, like he was a jewelry thief that ended up starting a jewelry business in the biggest, arguably the biggest jewelry diamond district in the world. Like that off the bat tells me that
huge red flag.
Yeah, that's a huge red flag right there. And it also leads me to believe that he wasn't there to set up a business or legit anything. This was from the beginning, it was a work. He was the whole reason he went over there and started a jewelry business or whatever was to pull this heist off, to get, you know, to study the location and the movements and everything. From the beginning.
I love how no man is immune to wifey, because he's sitting in the car the day of the heist, and he's like, his biggest stress was wifey calling him, saying where was he for Valentine's Day, and he was like, that was the biggest stress in my life.
like they could have cut that out, but the fact that they put that in, like
that's what I'm saying. Like he had a charm to it, but I think he's a bullshitter. I think he set it up. He had the intention. He knew to get the office in there, to get the in. He knew how things work. He had 3 or 4 businesses already, jewelry businesses. It's funny, out of all of them, at least the 4 known people, he served the least amount of time. The other ones got away with like 6 months, less than a year, and he served, and then he violated parole and he served some more time. So I think he ended up serving 4 or 5 years or something like that. But they never found the rest of the money, right? They
never recovered anything. They didn't recover anything. They said he got 10 years and he got out in like 6.
Yeah, for good behavior. Yeah, I think it was like 5. Yeah, and then he violated parole. But they all got out. Like the other guys got out. The genius, the what was the other guy?
Monster.
Speedy and the monster. They all got out with less than a year. So it's crazy that such a huge heist, you could have money stashed somewhere, and like they got away with it. Period.
They got away with it. Yeah. And I think that's the cool part. Unfortunately for, you know, whoever, like the diamond business is not the cleanest business in the world to begin with. But so it's hard to feel sympathetic. But I think his I do think he was the mastermind behind everything. A lot of the School of Thieves, those were like old colleagues of his. This is like a freaking Ocean's 11 thing, like straight up. And I think he's just like, yeah, I didn't do it. Where's the money? I'm sure he's filthy rich somewhere, but he also knows that he's watched. And he's just one of those guys that's like extremely careful. He doesn't need to be, you know, saying, yeah, I did it and I'm the smartest guy in the world. He's just like, yeah, I don't know what happened.
And I'm biased too because I just reread Shawshank Redemption, like the short story out of the 4 seasons, and that's one of my favorite like heist stories ever. Like it's such a good story. So coming off of that and then watching this guy, I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but
so I'm a little biased.
This actually happened, bro. Like this dude pulled
Yeah.
this off.
Yeah, I know.
That's I think that's the biggest takeaway from this is that you're listening to this story being told that could make for like a blockbuster movie, you know, but we're hearing something that actually happened in real life. It's almost unbelievable. You know?
And the thing, I want to go back to the alarms because the security system on this thing was crazy. You have to go down to the elevator where there was a security guard. As soon as you get to the vault door, they buzz you in, you hit the button and they open the door for you. And then there's a light sensor. So if you turn on the lights, the alarm goes off. And then there's like
there's that motion sensors too.
There's a motion sensor. And then there's a third sensor that's like it was like what was the detector?
There was a heat sensor, motion sensor, earthquake like detection, like whatever vibration
seismic
sensor.
Yeah,
seismic, yep.
But they said they like blocked one of the sensors off with like this very specific like plate of specific material. They just put it in front of it and it like neutralized it.
It was like some kind of like polyurethane sheeting that blocked the movement of them. And the hairspray was an ingenious method to block out the heat sensor because it retained the heat, so it wouldn't let. And he did it like systematically. I think over like 3 shots.
He did it over a matter of days or maybe weeks. Like a lot of time. A lot of.
So very, very precise. And like, you may not believe everything he said, but they got through. And the investigators even found a key. This was the thing. They found the key that opened it was like a master key that the key master put together. And it opened the basement. And they assumed that they got in through there. But he was like, no, we actually got in through another entrance from the other building. But that key apparently opened the safe right up. And then they had another tool to crack over 100 safes that were inside the vault.
That one, when they got up to that part, I wanted more detail on that because to me, like getting into the vault is one thing, but you could just get in and not have access to any of the jewels.
Now, so again,
I wanted to hear more details about this tool and how all they did was just brute force.
Here's another one that this is conflicting reports, right? One of them said, it grabbed onto the frame of those individual boxes and a tool went into the keyhole and then they corkscrewed it with such traction that it broke the lock and they were able to open the door. On the History Channel, they said somehow it became embedded, like it screwed into the keyhole and it made enough force where it broke the actual framing of where these doors were kept. And these doors were bent out and then the frame was broken and that's how they popped each door. Now, to just break the locks, you could do that pretty fast, right? But to actually have the force to corkscrew it, break the framing and bend the door out, that takes a lot of time and a lot of work. You know, like, so again, it's like 2 conflicting details that I found really interesting because that was all handmade. That machinist made these pieces that they actually like homemade and screwed together and assembled there like a kit.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
And they found the tool. They found it, and they not only did they find it, after they broke all these safes, they took the tool apart, and then the investigators had a team put that thing together, and then at the end they show you a picture and they tell you how it works. Because each of the lock boxes has a key lock individual for each one, so that's over 100 keys, and then 3 knob locks for each one. So that's like, I don't know what the 1,000th combinations are, but they got this one tool that just unlocked everything. It was really impressive, man. I
You
love
know what?
stuff like that.
You sold me because like I'm in movie mode and like story mode, and I'm comparing story to story, and I'm like, okay, but that this happened in real life, like it actually happened, is actually, yeah, you're right. It's pretty amazing, pretty intense.
Maybe the writing and directing is so good that you kind of lose that sense of reality that because to Scott's point, it just looks like a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know what's true ultimately, other than they broke in and they stole the money and the money's gone.
How sad, man, that
You guys
people
know
didn't
what
get
the, like,
insurance on their items because they thought it was the most secure safe in the world,
Yeah.
and they didn't get insurance, and like they lost everything.
Oh, that's on them, man.
That's rough, man. That sucks.
If you don't have insurance for anything in life, that's a risk you're taking. So
There
But
was
like it's sold as the most like impenetrable like safe in the world.
And you know what? With all that, the one thing that really pissed me off from the beginning of this was when they revealed that security guards are only in the building from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Like, how do you not have a 24-hour shift?
That's when his mind started to work, man, because he was like, they're not watching this live at night?
How do you have all this stuff? I guess they just felt so safe that it was so secure with all the cameras, but
mad hubris.
7 p.m. to 7 a.m., there was not one security guard there.
They were too confident. They were too confident.
I
guess very confident in that system.
But it's like, yo, man, you're holding like all the world's jewels there. Like, you can't pay some guy to do an overnight shift.
Yeah.
Like minimum wage at least.
And they got beat by hairspray.
Yo. What did you guys? There was a bit of a plot twist when it turned out one of the investigators got arrested for stealing diamonds too.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up too, but he was found in possession of them. He wasn't caught stealing them.
In his home, yeah.
Yes.
He said he was holding it for a friend.
That was yeah, he said he was holding it for
I heard that story before.
But that was
for a snitch. What do you call
it?
Yeah,
he said he was working with an informant, and it was like, okay. And he lost his job and lost his career ultimately. So he was
that was crazy because the whole documentary, this guy's giving this whole explanation. They're like, yo, he's highly decorated. He's the diamond unit over there. He's like solved like all these cases and everything. And then like it's a possibility that he was compromised too. And then that just makes you think, man, when there's like so much at stakes, like anybody can be compromised, man.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure. Every man has his price.
All right, guys. This was a good combo, I thought.
What'd you guys think about all the evidence, like how they got caught with this stuff? Like they pulled off the biggest heist, the most intricate thing, and then like they were just so sloppy with the
that's what didn't add up.
Getting caught so easily. And the detectives mentioned that sometimes some of these criminals are just like they're masterminds at what they do, but like something else as simple as like just being clean, like they're not good at that.
Again, conflicting reports with the getting rid of the garbage. That's what got them in. Like in one report, it was Speedy was supposed to get rid of it and go burn it, but then he got like whatever shook about something and he just dumped it, right? And the other report, they were both driving, and then he's like, yo, pull over because I want to go to the train station. Let's just get rid of it here.
Yeah.
And he said it over and over again. I didn't want to put it in this place. But then why did you? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I thought that was, bro, he got busted over like a Subway 6-inch.
Yeah,
like that did him in.
Mama said, always finish your plate, man.
You would have thought like they planned this thing for years. You got to have a plan to like get to the end. Like, where are you going to get rid of all this stuff? Like that,
to burn
that
it
didn't add up.
At that shed. He was going to burn it all up.
That's
and
the
then
problem.
they didn't stick with it.
They had a spot. Leonardo had a spot where they can burn it and get rid of all the evidence. And they had cleaned up everything they bought, all the food they ate. They said they were real careful about like saliva and leaving like prints on that stuff. So they had all that stuff bagged up. It just one person, I don't know, I forgot who it is they mentioned, but they slipped and they mixed like paperwork with the food garbage that wasn't supposed to go together.
But then they just dumped it on the side of the road.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same person
Yeah.
or a different person just, said, pull over, let's dump it here, whatever. Like he said, I want to go to Paris first before we meet back in Italy. So they had to kind of like take a detour, and that detour led them to that like farmer or property owners little, like, acres.
Just like
convoluted about that.
He said the bag ripped over some branches. Like it was just the sloppiest thing. They just threw it, scattered it everywhere.
And the elephant in the room they're not talking about, one of the videotapes they found was porn. So they were playing the heist and watching porn, and like, what was going on here?
Yeah, I don't know what the porn tape. I don't know if that was meant to like distract them or what. What was the point of that?
Maybe it was just left as. Go ahead, Scott.
And they spent all that time putting because it was in pieces. They put it on another cassette, the tape with the rounding it up so they could put it in the VHS machine, and then they got a surprise of what it was not.
I've never been so disappointed in my life for a porno.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I wrote down while I was watching this movie that I didn't understand is how did they get access to the videotapes? Because there was no mention of them like breaking into the security room and stealing the videotapes. That way they're not on camera doing this stuff. Like wouldn't they have needed to get into the security room? And
it showed them in the reenactment. In the reenactment, it showed them just grabbing it.
Yeah, I think so.
But from
yeah,
where aren't all the recordings going into tapes in like a recording room or a security room? And there was no mention of them, how they got access to these tapes.
Yeah, I don't know.
No matter what, it most likely there was some kind of inside support of knowing where all these things are, and whoever was part of it was able to know how to get access to the tapes, how to get the tape extracted, and which tapes to remove to make the gaps exist. But I think both sides, security was too confident in their ways of securing the area, and those who did the heist were too confident of just throwing evidence in a place that someone may be able to find it, which then led to all of this evidence to become available.
He was also
the detectives walked all across this highway too, grabbing little pieces of paper. How did those papers fly out? Like, were they throwing stuff out while they were riding in the car? Because they said they brought in like the academy's
the interns.
Again,
brought
it wasn't
in the
like all
academy
kind of one spot
to like go pick up all these pieces of paper from the highway, and then like some of the detectives pieced it together. So
I believe more what Scott was saying about like there had to be another person on the inside, because he was like, yeah, I went to them and I said I was going to expand my space. And not only did they give me like the blueprints for the space next to me, but they gave me the schematics to the vault. Like, what?
Did they?
Yeah, they said that.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he was like, I told him I went in, I was going to expand on my space, and I asked them for the blueprints. But not only did they give me the blueprints for the spaces next to me, they gave me some of the schematics for the vault. And I'm like, that makes no sense at all.
But they did say that the first people that they reviewed thoroughly was everybody who worked there, because they're like, this has to be an inside job. It's like the first conclusion, and they came up with nothing. As far
and
as
the other stupidity is he didn't open up his own little box in the vault.
Yeah,
it was one of the few that were untouched. Like, come on, like,
that was
you
dumb.
plan all this out. Open up your own vault, so it looks like you're getting robbed too.
He was also free
back
in Turin, and then he went back to Antwerp with his wife, and then he tells this bullshit story about, oh, my wife cleans everything. She loves to clean. And then like his wife went up there to basically clean the apartment of evidence, and they got caught coming out of the apartment with the cleaning gears, and the guy had the carpet on his shoulder, which had like little tiny, diamonds and gems stuck between like the bristles of the rug.
Damn,
crazy. That's how they got busted. But
what was also kind of sketchy to me? The first thing they mentioned when the documentary starts, when they're talking about this guy and how he set up an office there, is like that everyone that works there. That's Baby Adam. He's part of the podcast now from time to time. That everyone gets screened. Every I didn't say scream, I said screened. Everyone gets like a thorough screening to get an office there. Like they didn't notice this guy was a jewelry thief from Italy trying to find an office space next to the biggest vault.
But he did have like 3 or 4 legit businesses before he went there to get an office. Yeah, legit jewelry stores.
People, that's gonna show, man. That's on your record. That's like Interpol stuff.
He also talks about how he worked the diamond dealers there for a long time. Like he got close to them. He's like, because these people, they don't trust you coming up. So you got to be there. You got to talk to them. You got to be friendly. And then eventually he got the office in the building. Yeah. I think this guy was like, they think this is the safest place. They also talk about how he was obsessed with diamonds. But being that it had the reputation for being this, the safest place in the world, he was like, that's the perfect place to rob. And I'm going to show these guys that I can get in there. I think that was kind of it. But should we leave it there? Any final thoughts, Scott?
So do you think people should check it out?
Yeah, I do. This thing is fun, man. And I know you guys said it was long, but I didn't. I thought it was okay. It was a good runtime.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Pedro?
My final thoughts, I think 100% there was more than one other person involved inside. I mean, the fact that they never recovered the jewels, I think the people that run the vault and everything were involved, man.
Everybody. They didn't recover the jewels because these guys were in Turin for like 4 days. Like those
jewels. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this is such a huge job, and like the fact that it wasn't recovered makes me think that they didn't really want this stuff to get recovered. I think everybody was in on it, man. This is probably like way deeper than just the story we know.
The Italian School of Turin mob underworld. You bring in a duffel bag of diamonds, that thing's gonna be gone, bro. Like you'll never find that again. And I think that's what happened. It's just gone. As soon as it crossed the border, that thing was gone.
Some cops themselves, I wouldn't even be surprised if some cops themselves were involved in this. Like,
oh yeah.
Other jewelry store, other jewelers from there probably too. Like, man, it's too much to just have
insurance company. Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. Definitely go check this out. If anything, it's a little bit controversial. You can talk to somebody about it. You can argue with someone about it for sure. Leonardo is he's Batman, I guess. We'll see you next time. Like, subscribe.